Questions without notice. The Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, in August 1993 you said, quote, "Let me make this quite clear. We are not cutting outlays any further because it's irresponsible, it's indecent, it's unfair and it's just not smart." As late as November last year, you were also saying outlays in Australia are now as low as I think you could possibly have them. Prime Minister, what changed between November and yesterday's statement by your Finance Minister that there would be substantial cuts in outlays?
Order! You'll just wait a moment. Remove that person from the gallery. Order! Order! Remove that person.
We
never get him.
You might just... Peter. A good start. All right. Order.
Right, that's right.
I know, it's a good start for the day.
You'd prefer to answer that one, would you?
Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
I've made this point in the House before, and let me make it again, that a measure of the good housekeeping of any government is what it does with its spending and its outlays. Now, in every budget, the Commonwealth cuts outlays, in every budget. Because in any expenditure review committee round, any budgetary round, to make either room for new policy or to reduce the budget deficit or add to the surplus, we cut outlays. We do a review of the budget. We will do it again. That's the point I've made. That's the point the Minister for Finance made on the weekend. We will do it again. But what we won't do, we won't be cutting $10 billion out as advocated by you. As advocated by you on a radio program. And you remember before Christmas, let me refresh your memory, before Christmas, I instanced the fact where you said on radio you advocated cuts of up to $10 billion in spending, and you tried to worm your way out of it after question time with an explanation which, of course, went nowhere. And then we had the member for Forest just the last week or so talking about $5 billion of spending cuts. $5 billion of spending cuts. And let me repeat what he said. No, we're not. We're into the National Financial Review of the 17th of January.
Order.
Well, it's often fantasy land, but on this occasion I don't think it is. Anyway, it's said on the 17th of January.
Order, those on my left. Member for Mayo.
Well, it is a potpourri, you've got to admit, down there at Fairfax, isn't it? So sort of Balmain basket-weaving lefties and Reaganite Republicans. It's a real mixed grill. And of course, absolutely no one running it. Absolutely no one running it. Now, Mr. Speaker, I mean, as you know, I am the authority on John Fairfax and Sons in this court.
Order.
The company of heralds, yes. Oh, yeah, we all know
Those on my
about
left
that.
might not give
We
the
all know
Prime
about
Minister
that.
lines to respond to. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this is what they had to say. The shadow spokesman finance reappointed by the new opposition leader, the recycle opposition leader. He said this. He said, it illustrates the sorts of savings that are available without any slash and burn. He said, no doubt the area where we agree with the Business Council is that the government needs to be more fiscally responsible, and that means substantial cuts to expenditure. That's what you said. And then he went on to say, although Mr Prosser urged spending cuts in the government, he would not commit the opposition to making a more rapid reduction in the budget deficit. And of course, when we go over the Business Council list that he was recommending to us, he had some things in there like for instance, phasing in the reduction in the age of a child for which a parent can be eligible for sole parent pension, possibly eliminating completely when the child enters secondary school. So if the kid, yeah, but you're backing them in. You're backing them in. So as oh no, I know, embarrassed laughs and giggles, but let me just let me quote you again. It illustrates the sorts of savings that are available without any slash and burn. You don't regard that as slash and burn. I mean, you're trying to knock off, the Residents' Council talk about knocking $500 million out of labour market programs. And so you're out there, opposition backs suggested cuts. The opposition backs suggested cuts, but you weren't backing them, is that right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we know what you said. Now, Mr. Speaker, we know what he said, and what he said is the same sort of thing the Shadow Treasurer said before Christmas when he advocated well, don't be too noisy over there. Yeah.
Order, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
You're so macho. Twice you've had a chance to take the opposition leadership. The first time you rang your friend next to you and offered it to him. This time you sat overseas while John got it from Hawke's Nest. Now, when I told our caucus last year that you were a low-altitude flyer, I was right, wasn't I? The fact of the matter is, whenever they get faced up to outlays cuts of $5 to $10 billion, which is the thing they believe in, they go running away like a lot of frightened fawns. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, they then try and focus on the government, where the government's record has to have reduced outlays to GDP by 7 percentage points. By 7 percentage points of gross domestic product, the largest fiscal consolidation in the OECD area at any stage in the post-war years. So, Mr. Speaker, I think on the basis of the government's record, that the best I can advise the Shadow Treasurer is leave the budget to the government. All you need to do is kick it through the Senate when it turns up.